well. So we just started kind of redoing that this year. And we are in the process of onboarding a new DXC Phoenix member, which is super exciting.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Next one is similar. What were your chapter's biggest challenges this year? You guys again have 2 minutes. If you're not part of like an activism community, just doing activism alone, feel free to write what challenges you personally faced while doing activism. Anyone wants to share? We have 15 seconds. Yeah.
In Sacramento, we just don't have enough activists yet. It's always the same group of like 6 to 10 people every time for any activism that we do, whether it's DXC or peer or whatever group.
Right.
It's the same handful, 2 handfuls of people.
Yeah. Most chapters face that problem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't feel
Okay. Cool. Yes.
We had reopened the chapter in Los Angeles, so the challenges we were having was finding the same thing, more people and organizers, what we did. So I guess that answers that question.
Great. So you already solved the problem.
Kind of, yeah.
That's awesome. Cool. So let's start with the basics. What does elevating your chapter even mean? Like what exactly you're going to learn today? So I think elevating your chapter would mean identifying the challenges that you have and implementing a plan to overcome it. So right now you guys did make a list of all the challenges that you have. So now the only job is to figure out how to solve them. Reimagining what your goals and strategy would look like if your current goal strategy is not helping you come close to animal liberation. You got to redefine it and come up with a better strategy. And the third one is the most simplest, that is achieving higher goals than you have achieved previously. So let's say right now you're having 10 activists consistently coming for your actions. Let's say by the end of the year you have 20 activists that are consistently coming for your actions. That is your chapter being elevated. That is progress, in my opinion. So the first step of elevating your chapter is to have a vision. So for any activity you do, that is the most important thing, which is having a vision. You cannot do anything without it. So let's take an example. You're going on a road trip with your friends, and you have no destination, nothing in mind. So one person is saying let's go to the north, someone is saying let's go south, someone is saying let's wait at the stop and have food. Someone is saying let's stop for like an amusement park, something like that. So there's no plan, and it's so indecisive. So you have no basis on what you're going to make decisions on. So it's probably like a chaos, right? Which we don't want. But in the second example, you have a very clear destination. You have a very clear time duration, or like a time by which you have to reach somewhere, and you also have a reason why you're doing it. So instead of like let's just head north from Los Angeles, compare it with this example where you say that we need to reach San Francisco at 6 p.m. for the Taylor Swift concert. So you know exactly where you're going, by when you have to reach, and why you're going there for. So all of your decisions about which route you're going to take, or how often can you stop in the middle of the road, what time you need to leave, all of those decisions become so much more simpler because now you have a specific destination and a specific time limit for whatever vision you have. So while doing activism, our destination here is total animal liberation, right? And if that is our destination, we must have a vision of how we will achieve it, right? Because every single training, every single action, every single community event you do in your local activism community, it should get you one step closer to animal liberation. So you need to have a vision on what progress looks like, or what it looks like to get one step closer to it. So I would encourage you all to think of animal liberation happening backwards from from us getting like social and legal rights for animals to today, like what steps or what achievements you wanna get by the end of this year. So you can also check out dxc.io/roadmap. DXC has made like a roadmap on how we will achieve animal liberation, which really helps. Or if you are part of some other activism community, you can make one of your own. But it's really important that you make it, so you know that everything you're doing right now is progress towards animal liberation.
Can you repeat the DXC?
Yes. Yes, it's dxc.io/roadmap.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. So I would highly encourage everyone to check that document.
Thank you.
Now, this is our next exercise. So imagine 3 years from now, how do you see your chapter, right? Think about every single details, write down how many consistent number of activists do you want for actions, what kind of campaign wins do you want, what kind of culture do you want to create, every single aspect of your chapter. Just think about it and imagine what you want it to look like in the next 3 years. So I'm gonna again start a timer for 2 minutes. Did anyone not understand the question or anything like that?
I think it's going to take 2 minutes to write it down for me, the question. It's super long.
Okay.
Do we have to write down the question or just?
No, the notes are just for you guys. Yeah. You can just say chapter 3 years from now.
Okay. What do you mean by culture?
So, like, how is your community like? So, like, how do you guys communicate? Or, like, yeah. Is it like a culture of super, like, is that like productivity, or are you guys laid back? What time do you guys start the actions on time, or like 15 minutes late, whatever? Yeah. Cool. 2 minutes are done. So, yeah. Does anyone know what this is?
Iceberg?
Isn't it the iceberg that's like most of it is underwater and only the tip is above the water, so we only see the tip and most people don't know what's really going on?
Yeah, so this is an iceberg, but like what is it called? Anyone
Oh, the effect, the name of the, it's something effect, right?
No.
No?
So, okay, so I guess, so this is called as the Gandhian iceberg. So, the idea is that all the cool actions, all the major victories, like let's say the fur ban or an open rescue or like some amazing direct action, all of that stuff is like the tip of the iceberg, which is most seen by people, right? And then if you come below that, it is a little less seen by people, but it's still way bigger than the tip, which is your how much you've worked on your community, right? But then the biggest portion of the iceberg, which nobody can see, but is by far like the largest part, that is self-transformation on or like personal growth of individual activists. So when we see movements, we see like the big stuff, we see like massive legislative wins, we see like massive marches or campaigns, all of that, but underneath that what we usually don't see is all of the effort that has gone into the community building aspect of it, and what we usually don't ever see is how much work has gone into personal growth and self-transformation. So yeah, this is called as the Ghanaian iceberg, which gets to my next point. If you want to elevate your activism community, there are majorly two aspects to that. One is transforming yourself. You cannot transform your activism, local, whatever community without transforming yourself. And then next is working on putting time in your community. So part one is transforming yourself. I'm gonna give like a quick example. There used to be like a very idealistic, enthusiastic activist who used to be like, I'm going to change this world. And he met someone and they asked him, so what time do you wake up? And he said, oh, I wake up at noon, but I'm really trying to wake up early to do my activism. He met the same person after a year and they asked him the same question. What time do you wake up now? And his answer was the same, I wake up at noon, but I'm still trying to wake up early in the morning for my activism. And he met that person again the year after that, and he was still working on waking up early. So the moral of the story is that you cannot change the world if you cannot even change yourself. It is very important for us to be idealistic and to believe that we can change the world, and we absolutely can change the world, but you also need to start doing that by changing yourself, right? So skills to develop as a community organizer, I've listed some random skills here like organizing, both personal organizing as well as being able to organize events effectively, time management, leadership, editing, writing, networking, public speaking, photography, research, developing political, cultural awareness. Are there any other skills you guys can think of that organizers must know?
Conflict resolution?
Mm-hmm.
Communication.
Yeah.
Technology.
Yeah.
I feel like just being adaptable to like changing situations.
Yeah. Very important. Yeah.
I feel like interpersonal skills.
Correct. So there are many of them, and as an organizer, you don't need to develop every single one of them, but you should work on developing some of them, and whatever skills you're good at already, should work at upskilling yourself, getting even better at it.
Content writing?
Yes.
Let's throw another one
Very
out there.
important. Social media.
Oh,
Next exercise is, what were your key learnings in the past year, and in what ways you have changed as a person? Yeah.
Good questions.
Thank you. So I'm gonna start the 2-minute timer. would love to hear from you guys what you've written, but we are really low on time. Now, the next one is imagine yourself 3 years from now in the year 2028 and introduce yourself the way you would like to be seen in the future. So, you're gonna write like, hi, I'm Shweta, I'm the organizer for whatever, I have organized these events or I've mobilized people, and even about your personal life if you want to share that. What kind of a person you are, any other personal achievements you think you would have had by 2028. Yeah, started the timer. Last 30 seconds. Okay, yeah. If you guys have not finished it yet, I would encourage you all to like go home and think about it for a longer time. But this is kind of like the vision part of what you want to be like for like a shorter duration. So it's really important to have that so that you can do things by the end of this year, or like you can come up with the habits that you need to develop and do every single day to be this person by the end of the 3 years. Yeah, next one is to make a list of skills you want to develop to be a more effective organizer by the end of 2025. And it could be the skills that you already have, but you want to build on them, you can still write that. And I'm going to keep the timer at 1 minute for this. So now we head to part 2 of the training, that is transforming your activism community. So I think these are 10 foundations of building like an effective activism community. And what I want you guys to do is we're going to go through each one of them, and I want you to rate how your local chapter or your community is doing in each of these out of 5 as we go through each one of them. right? So just like whenever we get to like community building, just write out of 5, how well you think you're working on it right now, out of 5, okay? So community building, make sure you host regular meetings, potlucks, have fun events to foster relationships beyond activism goals, develop real friendships with people. I would say maybe 2 aspects of community building is recruiting new activists, like doing events and stuff to recruit new activists, and there's also the other aspect of community building, which is to retain the current activists that you have, because we have a very high rate of activists fallout, activists stop doing activism or even stop being vegan, so we don't want that to happen. So you need to work on organizing events and developing connections so that that does not happen. This picture here is from my first activism event from 2017, and I was very new. This was just like a small outreach event, and so all of the people here made me feel seen, made me feel like I've done a great job. They were really good to me. They became friends with me. Like I would say maybe 1 or 2 weeks later, they even encouraged me to organize outreaches by myself. So what I'm saying here is if they would have not been like nice to me, they wouldn't have given me the support that they gave me, maybe I wouldn't have been an animal rights activist today. So whenever a new activist comes for your action, they have all of this potential to become a revolutionary organizer for the animals. And they are being introduced to the animal rights movement through you. So it's your responsibility to make sure that they are seen, they feel heard, that you are upskilling them, you're being friends with them, you're mentoring them, all of that. Create inclusive spaces where people from all backgrounds feel welcome, valued, and safe. Develop mentorship structures, so try to pair an experienced activist with a new activist so they learn from them to develop and become better activists. Facilitate small group activities, like if people are living in really big cities like the Bay Area, it's not possible every time for someone to come to Berkeley, so I guess now they have these local geo circles like North Berkeley, South Bay, whatever, so that people don't always have to travel. So you can have like these small group activities like weekend hiking groups or like the South Bay vegan potluck group or something. Then consistent nonviolent direct action. So we do community building so that we can do these actions that are going to hopefully create change for the animals. So it's really important to track mobilization by taking attendance at every single one of your actions. You need to know how many people you've mobilized for this action, so that you'll know if you are progressing, if your promotions is working, if your community building is working. Otherwise you won't know where your movement is going. So always take attendance. And also have a database of activists with like a list of all of the activists that have ever attended your events, their names, their phone numbers, or like contact information, so that every time you organize an event, you have a way to like contact all of them. So you have like this database. So really important to have that. A lot of people say that activists are not coming for their actions, right? What can we do? And a lot of times the solutions can be very surface level, like create better posters or do more promotion on social media. That is all very important. But at the end of the day, if you're not organizing good actions where people feel like their time has been valued and that the time that they've put in has resulted into effective activism for the animals, they won't come to your events. So make sure whatever actions you do organize, they're extremely well organized. There's like an entire training on how to organize actions. I won't get into it, but always use the protest checklist. You can go to dxe.io/protest checklist. It's really important for these actions to be consistent and not just like once in 2 months or something, but hopefully every month you're organizing an action. So you're consistent, you're more visible, you're disciplined, so that the momentum is maintained and you create a lot of public awareness. After your actions, it's really important to debrief and reflect on how you can make this event better. No matter how much of an experienced organizer you are, there's always things that you miss, or you will find out how you could have done it better. So it's like a constant learning process. So it's really important to send feedback forms or do debriefing with like the organizers of the event. And these actions can include various things depending on what kind of activism community you have. It could be visuals, outreaches, rescues, protests, marches, anything depending on whatever roadmap that you have, whatever objective you have for your community. The next thing is social media. It's super important. You cannot lead a social movement in today's age without having a social media page. So it's important for you to have that. There can be different strategies. So for the main DXC account, we do a lot of informational stuff, informational videos. We talk about stories of rescued animals. But on the DXC SF Day page, that is the purpose of that page is to recruit new activists, to reach out to people within that locality. So it's not extremely important for local activism pages to have like a lot of followers. So depending on whatever strategy you have for social media, you can decide what kind of content to create, but it's really important for you to have a presence on social media. Assign a dedicated team for social media. I know sometimes there can be just one person, but it's also really easy to get volunteers to do social media because then they don't have to come in person. They can work remotely, so it's a great opportunity for volunteers. Share, you can share all kinds of things like impactful stories, upcoming events. Really important to share pictures from your actions. It's important to show your activism, not just like you're doing an action, but then if you want to maximize the impact of the same action, just post pictures from that action or post like a short reel or something, and that just like instantly makes that action reach out to even more people without much work, I would say. So do that, and always remember that your social media page represents your group. So a lot of times nowadays, let's say if I have to join some activism group, I'm going to check their Instagram page, I'm going to see what they're like, and then I'll decide whether I'm going to join them or not. So your social media page should reflect what you are, basically. The next thing is press. Now we can reach out to a lot of people by social media, but we still cannot reach out to masses. So we need press for the stories of animals to be heard, to change cultural narratives. So to do that, you need to build relationships with pro-animal journalists or local media in your chapter. Again, create a database of all of these journalists with their names, their contact, which media house they work for, so that you can send them your press releases, advisories, all of that. Learn to write, how to write press advisories, press releases. There are many trainings available with DXC. You can contact me if you want recordings of how to do press. And also train activists on how to speak for interviews with the press. Next thing is trainings. Really important. You don't want to gatekeep your skills. If you want your activism to develop, grow, you need to, whatever skills that you have learned as an organizer, you need to teach them to the newer organizers of your community. So offer regular workshops. You can conduct them online or in person, whatever, about, again, all of these skills that organizers need to have. Develop a curriculum for onboarding new members. So DXCSFB already has that. I think dxc.io/handbook, if I'm not wrong. And also dxc.io/organizer trainings for organizers. So have a curriculum like that. Bring external experts or collaborate with seasoned activists. You can always request for trainings to DXC's international network. They'll be happy to share the trainings or organize the trainings for your community, like online. And also learn to lead trainings yourself. This can be intimidating, or you might feel like you're not good enough, whatever. But just attend trainings. You can ask for the slides. I'm sure all of the organizers will be happy for you to use their trainings and give that training yourself. So yeah, learn to do that. Next one is is campaigns. Now this really makes your actions more effective because it's not just a one-time action you do, but it's going to be a consistent series of actions that will hopefully bring about some kind of change. And this is really helpful to motivate activists to like mobilize them. Make sure campaigns are time-bound, goal-oriented, and you have clear demands. Build coalitions with like environmental groups or other social justice movements. Campaign wins are some of the best ways to mobilize people. And also follow the 6 steps of Kingian nonviolence while doing any kind of campaign. I'm not going to get into the details of it, but basically do your proper research, exhaust all of the sort of legal or the right ways to ask for change. So you reach out to the company, you tell them that, hey, you guys have animal cruelty here, please do something about it. You reach out to whatever legal authorities to take action, and they won't take action, then you take nonviolent direct action. And then the goal of any campaign is reconciliation. So you get them on our side, you get them to change. Next one, I would say like the most important point here is to have clear goals and OKRs. You can use different forms of goals, whatever goal making methods that you want or that you like. The one that we use in DXC is called as the OKR, which stands for Objectives and Key Results. So I've got an example here. If your objective is something like to increase local movement capacity, you need to have some measurable key results for that. So what is it going to look like? Like what do I even mean when you want to increase your local movement capacity? So it means that you're going to organize a fun community event and an action every single month with at least 10 attendees. So that's going to be like your measurement for how much success you have achieved or how much of this goal that you have achieved. And maybe a second one can be 10 community members develop a new skill, right? So make sure you have them. So usually, like, this is a very simple method, which is SMART goals. I'm sure you guys have heard it. So your goals should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So yeah. And again, once you make them, you don't just make your goals and like keep them on the side. And it's important, even if you make like your annual goals, it's important that every single week you review them to see whether you are progressing towards them or not, and then by the end of the year you re-evaluate them to see how much you have progressed. So if you're making OKRs for you should make OKRs for your personal self as an activist, and then OKRs for your community in general. So when you make that, you can give this ownership of key results to several different activists in your community. So they will also get motivated to like own a key result or something and work towards that. And celebrate small wins to keep the morale high, because our goal, which is animal liberation, it's gonna take a few decades. So by the time we have to keep our motivation levels and celebrate the small wins that we have. Next one is conflict management. You guys must have attended the training yesterday, I think, yeah. Training yesterday, but this is something that's going to happen in every single community, and it can literally break social justice movements or communities. So don't wait until you get a conflict in your community. Work on certain protocols on how you're going to deal with conflicts if it arises in your community from now itself. Establish conflict resolution protocols, as well as have a code of conduct. So DXC has a code of conduct, dxc.io/code or /conduct, and there are things like you cannot have alcohol in DXC's events, right? So there are things listed that are gonna hopefully prevent these sort of conflicts. So make sure you have a code of conduct for your community. And yeah, create safe spaces for feedback, address conflicts early before they escalate. So most conflicts that come for conflict resolution have already like escalated way too much. and it's very hard to deal with them. So it's important to deal with conflicts when they occur and practice radical candor. Does anyone know what radical candor is? You want to quickly explain it?
Yeah, it's honesty where you're not holding anything back, you're communicating everything that's on your mind, but you're also doing it in a way that's respectful and productive.
Yeah, so this y-axis is to care personally. So here you're caring for someone personally, and here you're not caring for them. And this x-axis is like challenging people directly, like speaking to them about the conflict, and this one is like not speaking to them at all about the conflict. So the quadrant that you want to be in is radical candor, where you are challenging people directly, so you are communicating the conflict or the problems you have with that person, but you're doing this with care in your heart, or like good intentions in your heart, because you want that person to be better. Yeah. I'm not going to explain the other conflicts, but this is something you guys should learn about, radical candor. If you,
And it's in the new handbook, right, that was recently published?
Yes, it is there. So anytime there's a conflict, you want to address it. You don't want to ignore it. You want to speak with that person. But when you speak with that person, you don't want to insult that person. You want to do it in a way where they know that you care about them and you want them to do better. So yeah, there's a book also. It's called Radical Candor. You guys should read it. Next one is culture and values. So create a value system. If you already each chapter, you can go to txt.io/values. We already have these 5 values for our chapters. Integrate values in daily practices like your meetings or how you take decisions. So things like what time do you start your meetings, action items or tasks for each member. People complete their tasks on time or do they don't, so that all comes in your culture. Celebrate diversity, inclusivity, mutual respect. Develop a productive work culture, because at the end of the day, animals are suffering every single second, so we want to be productive and effective for the animals. So it's important to have a productive work culture, and it should not be toxic at all. So yeah, and it's important to know that culture is always set from the top. So if you are leaders of your community, the way you will behave, the culture that you are going to create, or yeah, the way you speak with people, that is going to be the culture of your community. So it's even more important for leaders to have that. With simple things like coming to actions on time. If the leader is not coming on time, the chapter member is also not going to do that. And that gets us to leadership. It's really important that leaders know that leadership is not about power and retaining control, but it is about developing and creating new leaders. As a leader, you must be someone who is making